I searched through hundreds upon hundreds of seeds, scoured the ends of the internet to find you 10 amazing village seeds you're going to want to use for your survival world. And straight off the bat, as we can see, the spawn of this seed doesn't really have like the most amazing spawn, despite the fact that we do have a village off in the distance over there. But if we head off in this direction for just a little bit, then what we can eventually see is a village stacked right on top of each other on this huge savannah peninsula, as we can see right here. Meaning the bottom of this village with the blacksmith starts at Y63 and goes all the way up to Y176. So in the case you want to make the most of a challenge when it comes to exploring a village, and this seed definitely has you covered in that sense. But if one blacksmith isn't enough, then this next seed might cover it, because this village is chock full of blacksmiths. As we can see, as we go around, we're going to mark these out. We have this one right here. We have a second one here. Right over here, we're going to have a third and fourth one over here. Right across in this direction, on this street, we have a fifth, a sixth. Over here, we're going to have a seventh all the way down here, including an eighth, a ninth. We have this one right here, and we missed one just over here, meaning we have 11 separate blacksmiths inside this one single village. Meaning, in the case you want to make the most of having several bits of loot, then this seed absolutely covers it, and absolutely covers it in the fact that we also get a shipwreck off in the distance right over here too, and a ruined portal generating right inside of a village, meaning you're only going to get half a village house, as we can see right here. But with this 2 obsidian and possibly the lava around here, you should probably have enough obsidian to actually go to the nether here too. But if you can't make it to the nether, then maybe you can make it to this seed where you spawn right in front of all this mesa we can see right here. But if you are looking for those villages, then I'd recommend you heading off in this direction for a little bit, because just off over here, we're going to pass a desert temple we can see right here, and we're going to eventually run across this first village we can see right here, which is just sandwiched right in between a desert and a mesa badlands we can see right here, right on what looks to be a river too, which that's cool and all. But in the case you want to find something that's just a little bit cooler, then I recommend heading off in this direction for just a little bit longer, because we find this village, which is just generated in just close enough to a mesa badlands to make it a little bit skewed in with that biome, if I were to say it that way. We got crops covered in terracotta, we got buildings filled with terracotta, we got trapped villagers inside of here. Like, sir, you have not seen the light of day in years probably. But also included with this generation next to the Badlands is a desert temple alongside all these Mesa Bryce canyons around the place, as well as a pillager outpost and an exposed mine shaft, as we can see right here, with 2 separate monster spawners right on the surface, alongside multiple minecart chests around the place, and all of which just so happens to be centered right around this one single village we can see right here. And if you like the concept of that seed, but you don't like the warm biome, then this seed might cover you, because right over here we can see an ice spikes biome that just so happens to generate in the exact same place as a village. So in the case you want to have a plains village surrounded by frigid and frozen ice spikes all over the place, then this seed will absolutely have you covered in that sense, alongside a blacksmith inside of here, as we can see. And something else we can see is polar bears all across this one village, which is something that you might not expect to see. And something else you might not expect to see is an igloo just sitting itself right off in the distance, right next to this one village we can see right here. Sadly, no basement, but still, in the case you want to make the most of beds or furnaces or anything like that, then you can always come here too. And just in case you wanted to know where to find a more frigid village, then just off in these corners right here, we have this one right here, which is actually a pretty decently sized one, if that right here, with plenty of houses, with plenty of chests, and with very little distance from even more warmer climated biomes around here. But with this, you don't really have to do much traveling, because right at spawn we have not just one village, but 3 separate villages, but not just 3 of the same type of villages. We have a plains village right here, right off in this direction. We have an acacia village, and we have a desert village. Literally all in the space of spawn, surrounding this entire island, which is surrounded by this river we can see right here. Meaning, if you're looking for a whole bunch of village variants, but you don't want to have the hassle of like traveling a bunch, or have the hassle of like finding a village that's generated inside of 2 biomes, then this seed 100% covers you with 3 separate different types of villages right at spawn. And the crazy thing is, even though we have these 3 villages, we're only still gonna have 1 single blacksmith inside this plains village. But still, even with that, you should have just about enough stuff to get yourself started inside a world like this. And I mean, considering that there's several other different types of chests around villages, you should be pretty much covered. You should be pretty much covered. But if having 3 villages at spawn was a bit much, then this seed might cover it a little bit better, with still a whole bunch of village variants right off in this direction for a little bit. But to get there, we're going to have to cross this entire mangrove forest, which fortunately for us does seem to be relatively open, so using a boat or something like that should be pretty viable in doing this. But after all the journeying, we're eventually going to come across this village, which is just right on the edge of a jungle biome, which is also right on the edge of that mangrove forest, which is also right on the edge of an actual plains biome. So in the case you want to get separate different types of villages from a village that already has 2 different types of villages, then this seed pretty much covers you in that sense. It cuts out some of the hard things you're going to have to do, while still giving you like a challenge of having to do some of it yourself, but not without giving you a few bits of rewards here and there inside this blacksmith. And won't be a village seed showcase without showing off at least a couple of village island seeds, and the spawn of this seed doesn't actually have any villages on this one particular island, and that's because the islands, yes, more than one island containing villages is actually located off in this direction, because over here we find not 1, but 2 separate village island seeds right back to back, with 2 different types of biome villages right over here. Seeing this and seeing both of them back to back is just utter insanity, and why seeds like these are just so unbelievably fun to find. The first one over here has a whole bunch of forest biomes, a little bit of savannah, as well as just enough plains biome to actually generate in this one village we can see right here, with on top of that a very big hole right next to this humongous village. And the second island has some birch forest, a little bit of dark oak, and a whole bunch of taiga and mega taiga around the place, on top of this taiga village we can see sitting itself right over here, alongside a blacksmith inside this one taiga village here, with a couple of waterways here and there around this island, including a trail rune we can see right here generating right next to this one village house. And when I say right next, I mean kind of inside, just a little bit. Yeah, if you wanted the perfect setup of having multiple village islands inside of one particular seed right next to spawn, then this is definitely gonna be the seed you're gonna want to check out. But if having village islands surrounded by huge bodies of water was a bit much, then this seed might have you covered with that, because this island is actually surrounded by huge, massive drops leading into absolutely massive cave entrances. Meaning if you want to do anything inside this one particular seed, you're gonna have to be very wary and very understanding of how much ground you can work with and how much ground you don't have to work with, if you want to put it that way, and how much ground you have to work with when coming all the way down inside the cave, because for some reason this path is inside the cave. This one little bit of the village is just inside the very deepest parts of this cave. Right above, also a ruined portal right here, with what looks to be just enough obsidian to actually go to the nether then. But yeah, even though I don't exactly know how this village came to be, the fact that it did come to be is just such a welcoming phenomenon and such a brokenly amazing seed that you're gonna want to check out for yourself. But what about a village island seed that's just a little bit more normal? Well, this seed actually delivers on that, because you spawn on this island with this village right next to you. Although we do have an absolutely utterly massive island right next to it, the fact that it is still like pretty much island on its own thing still does give you that opportunity to play around with villages and not have too much land to work with. But in the case you or you had some friends who wanted to work with more land, then you absolutely do have that in huge quantities, with this humongous plains, with this humongous stony shore, and with some little bits of islands here and there around the place too. Alongside this very large exposed ruin with this exposed amount of prismarine and sea lanterns. You don't really see that too often on the surface, but this seed definitely delivers on that. But while all that stuff is good and all, some people will just want a genuinely good seed with a genuinely good village, and this seed actually delivers on that, despite the spawn being just a little bit wet, if you want to call it that. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem, because literally right behind you is actually a desert temple island, as we can see right here. And straight away with an enchanted golden apple. So from like 30 seconds of spawning in, you could have an enchanted golden apple. That is crazy. And something else is crazy is if we head off in this direction for a little bit, past a good number of mangrove, past a good number of desert, then what we'll eventually find is this one village right here, surrounded by absolutely stunning terrain. On pretty much all ends, you're going to see some absolutely beautiful generation from end to end. Whether it be this absolutely massive jungle mountain or the mangrove forest right behind it. But while in here, you might also be getting yourself some desert villages as well as some jungle villages inside of here, considering we are inside a bamboo forest right here. And considering we're inside a bamboo forest and a jungle forest of that, right next to it is actually a jungle temple right here. So if having the loot from the desert temple wasn't enough, then you of course have this stuff too. And if having that desert temple island generation wasn't enough for you, then how about some bamboo forest islands around the place too? Something I didn't even think about, like this is a coral reef, an ocean biome that's pretty much in a lake. I didn't even realize that until just now. But yeah, all of this happening pretty much surrounding this one single village inside this one single seed. But yeah, let me know what you think of these seeds down below. Like, subscribe, support the channel, and all that stuff. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.